watching the Original Music Atlanta podcast.
All right, and we are rolling at Original Atlanta Music Podcast. Episode 1. Today we have Animals on the Roof. They're going to be playing at the Atlanta Original Music Showcase, and that's March 12th, I believe. Today we've got Curtis, Lex, Shane, and Chad, who make up Animals on the Roof.
Yep.
How you guys doing?
We're doing good, man. We've been practicing our little butts off. We've had one tune-up gig. We played at the Masquerade a couple weeks ago, and that was our tune-up before this. And we really kind of like, trying to get ourselves as tight as we possibly can before the showcase on the 12th. And where that's kind of more or less our official coming out. You know what I mean?
And Rick Gathman is with me here today as well. And we wanted to get a background on the name, Animals on the Roof. I mean, to me, it reminds me every time I drive up 985 here in Atlanta area. But can you give us a background on that?
Well, Animals on the Roof is actually, it could be a long story, but I'll try to make it short. I kind of fell back in love with Kansas accidentally. A friend of mine a job with Kansas. He thought he was going to apply for a job. My friend Jesse Dupree from Jackal had called me and said they were looking for a guitar tech. And anyway, my buddy went to go meet with Jesse, and I know a guy. So anyway, he goes to meet with Jesse, and he comes back and he says, "Man, I got the job." And he goes, "But it wasn't with Jackal." I'm like, "Who was it with?" He goes, "It was with Kansas." I'm like, "What?" So he worked with Kansas for years, and he just retired and moved out to Oregon. And anyway, he texted me one day and he goes, "Have you heard this new Kansas album that they just came out with?" This was like in 2020. And I was like, God, Kansas puts out a new album in 2020. And so I listened to the whole record, and it was just freaking amazing. I mean, it's just really just a ridiculously good album. And there's a song on there called Animals on the Roof. Uh-huh. And I heard the song, and I was just like, dude, this song just like, you know how you get a song once in a while that just speaks to you, man. It's like, God bless, man. This song just really describes a lot. You know what I mean? I guess Animals on the Roof would be the Animals on the Roof, I guess, describes the oddball. According to them, it's the oddball guys, the guys that kind of blaze their own little path, ignoring everybody else and just kind of doing their own thing. And so I love the name so much. And so I'm like, well, to the people that put it together that were named after a Kansas song,
yeah,
I hope they don't expect to hear Kansas, but yeah, but yeah. that's where the name came from. And plus it ties into when I was doing the Blacklight Poster Boys back in the early 2000s, our big song was "If the Animals Could Talk." That was the one that got us all the label attention and got us it got me basically a deal with Electronic Arts, and they do music for video games and stuff like that. And that led to me getting "If the Animals Could Talk" on PlayStation, Road Rash, and it got, by Electronic Gaming Magazine, it got voted like the #1, song of the year, and blah, 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 blah. And of course, Chevelle, who lost, got wildly more famous. But still, I won Song of the Year.
That's pretty cool. It seems like a lot of...
That's the origin of the name, and that's that's some background on it.
That seems like a lot of bands lately... well, not a lot of bands, I should say. One, Robbie from Stuck Mojo is doing the same thing with the video games.
I'm trying to hear you, Rick. You're...
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We good?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay. My buddy Robbie, who's in Stuck Mojo, his current band is actually doing the same thing with music for video games. So that must be, they must be looking for true talent to get good music in the video games these days, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, my friend, the guy that actually co-wrote the "Have a Nice May" thing with me, my other songwriter guy in Animals is a guy named Mark Donnells, and Mark's in Yacht Rock. He's the lead guitar player in Yacht Rock, and And Mark does the same thing while he's running around playing frickin', Brandy, You're a Fine Girl. He's also writing and licensing music to everybody. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, it's an avenue, I guess.
Yeah,
everybody has their side hustle.
Well, that's a good transition to I think you've been involved. Obviously, you're the owner of 10 High, and you've been doing Meddlesome and all this good stuff down there at 10 High for a long time. I believe you also did a Sammy Hagar tribute band.
Still doing it, aren't you?
I'm still technically involved in the Sammy Hagar tribute. You know what I mean? We'll see how. You know what I mean? Something to do, somewhere to play. It's basically. My wife and I like to keep our mad money separate. In other words, we have our joint money, which is the 10 High, the Dark Horse, and another club down the street called Neighbors. And then we have our mad money, which is our side hustle money. And so Sammy is more or less a side hustle thing for me. Yep. And with some friends of mine. And that's still going. We don't play much. I mean, we're all a bunch of old dudes just out playing rock and roll, about once a month, maybe we play. We got a show coming up at the Dixie Tavern.
Oh, yeah.
We have another show coming up at Rosati's, but we don't play that much, man. It's just kind of fun to stretch and play that music, especially the Van Halen stuff that Sammy did was really pretty involved material. You know what I mean?
Surprises you, doesn't it?
It's not hard to handle. It's not Rebel Yell.
Yeah.
You got to kind of know how to sing and know how to play to do it, so...
Yeah, that's a good band. You got some good players in that band. You got Chris Presta.
Chris Presta's the drummer. Wendell Walker is our guitar player. Wendell Walker, now of the Isley Brothers. Wendell is their touring guitar tech.
Oh, wow.
And Sean Hansen, who's in 8,000 bands.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We're somewhere on the list of all of Sean's bands.
Yeah. Hey, so my point of that was asking about this is going to be a podcast talking about original music musicians. The ability to get gigs as an original band has become quite difficult as of the past, decade. So there's still something in you, even doing these cover bands or tribute bands, there's still something in you that wants to create your own art. And is that why you have the...
To be honest, when Meddlesome started, by the time Meddlesome started in 2003, I mean, I had been chasing that rainbow for years and years and years, and for a long time, especially when the thing with the Fox 5 happened, and then the thing with Electronic Arts and Road Rash happened. Of course, you get under this illusion that you're close. You know what I mean? And so we were getting looked at. My ex-wife worked for a major record label, and so I got to showcase. And when I say showcase, I mean real showcases. You know what I mean? Here in town, with the help of Jesse Dupree too. You know what I mean? Jesse Dupree got me hooked up with Jim Zimwalt, who of course is the guy that he's Taylor Swift's lawyer, and he's a huge Nashville lawyer, and so they got us real showcases, not like in front of promotional people.
Sure.
Like we did a showcase. I showcased for Tom Zutaut. I showcased for John Kolodner, and I don't know if you guys know who John David Kolodner was, but one of the humbling moments was when John David Kolodner, after we'd showcased for him at Center Stage, I sat down with him, and it was an arranged sit down, and John basically said, do you want me to blow smoke up your butt, or do you want to hear my real opinion? And I said, no, I want the real truth. And he said, you're not a rock star. You're not going to be a rock star. You're not a rock and roll front man. He goes, you're a fantastic songwriter. And so, I wish I'd have listened to him when I was 28 years old, but instead I stubbornly went after it for years and years. Well, then when Meddlesome started in 2003, of course, I started making money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For the first time in my life, making a lot of money off of playing music. And so cover music kind of became the thing.
Yeah, great idea, by the way. Great idea.
Around Atlanta, all of a sudden tribute bands exploded. Yacht Rock and Meddlesome were both products of this basement. And so, to be honest, the songwriting bug just kind of left me. It just kind of left me. And during COVID, I kept waking up in the morning. Now, this is, years later, 18 years later. And I'm waking up every single morning. I've got these lyrics in my head, and I've got these guitar riffs in my head. And I'm just like, man, oh man, I kept telling my wife, I'm like, man, I feel like I don't want to ignore the songwriting gods. They're talking to me, which is really crazy. So me and Shane and Chad, bass and guitar player, we had done a little one-offs. Like we did the same showcase. We did it last year. I think we did it the year before that. You know what I mean? And so they were just little tastes, but it wasn't until Lex came in. And of course you guys know, and Rick, I hope you appreciate this. It's like, if you don't have a good solid drummer, you're really kind of spinning your wheels. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just not going to happen unless you have a good solid drummer.
Well, a bass player as well. Yeah, if those two need to work together for sure. If you don't have a good solid rhythm section, you may as well hang it up.
You got to have a good drummer, man. It all starts with a great drummer, or nobody's going to feel anything. And I can't, so when Lex came into the picture, it kind of really, the fire that in me that was kind of primed and ready to go. When Lex came into the picture, and Lex lives in Athens, so he's got to drive every freaking week to rehearsal. That's commitment.
That's commitment.
And when that happened, it just kind of lit the whole thing on fire, man. And all of a sudden, we're like, dude, let's do this. I mean, I've all of a sudden, every single day, I've got a guitar in my hand. I got home from Meddlesome last night, 2:30 in the morning, and immediately went into my little studio room, grabbed my guitar, and started finishing up this new song that I'm writing. And man, oh man, it just feels. I quit playing bass for Meddlesome. I don't play bass with Meddlesome anymore. I'm just doing front of house here just to keep me in mad money, and it's all I want to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's all I want to do. I mean, every single day. And sorry, guys, and Sammy, if you hear this and it pisses you off, but I don't even want to do covers anymore. I really don't. It's like the bug has got me so strong right now with original music. Yeah. It's like I feel like even doing Sammy is a distraction. You know what I mean? I want all my energy. If I'm going to finish my music career doing anything, I want to finish my music career and for the rest of from now till then, to be original music.
Amen.
Yeah, I know where you're about to go. Go ahead.
So, you said something earlier about ignoring the songwriting gods or something to that effect, and that's the thing for me is if I'm learning other people's music to play, I'm taking away time, which is valuable to me from. I'm ignoring the songwriting gods that are in my own brain if I'm learning other people's music.
Takes away your energy, you know what I mean? It takes away your freaking your brain power, and you're thinking about, oh man, I got to learn this freaking Queensryche song or this other song, and it just takes away your freaking your that little space in your brain, and it kind of just blinds you, you know what I mean? And for me, it's like, I don't know, man. I'm having such a good time, and who knows? Everything they say, everything is comes around in circles. Who knows? Maybe original music could make a comeback, like what you guys are doing in Giza. You guys are doing a really big show. You know what I mean? You guys are doing like I'm assuming that a lot of those video monitors that you guys have on stage with you, I'm assuming you guys bring those with you.
They're in studio. That's what you're seeing right now. Yeah.
The video wall behind you.
Yeah.
And it's like I think that if original bands could learn anything at all from the last 10 or 15 years of nothing but cover music and tribute bands, number one, I do think that people are getting a little bit burnt out on tribute bands. And who knows? It's like if they could take a cue from those bands and go, listen, you have to bring a show.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You have to bring a show, and you have to be prepared. You know what I mean? You can't show up in frickin', that looks like you just got done mowing the yard and show up. I mean, I'm not saying every band has to do what you guys are doing with Giza, but still, you have to have something that draws people in. And original bands should really, the other thing about original bands now is I think original bands, in terms of like band class, they lost first chair. Yeah. First chair being Fridays and Saturday nights.
Yes, sir.
All the top clubs, you know what I mean? They've kind of lost that chair. If you want it back, get it back.
Yeah, take it.
Put 50 people in a bar, and then if the band opening up for you can put 50 people in a bar, boom, you know what I mean? You've got real bar sales. And I wear that hat. I've worn that hat for a long time. It's like bar sales are a big deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially when we're playing these places, like 37 Main that and 37 Main and other rooms out there that kind of posture themselves like a venue, but they're not a venue. They're a club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a difference. Mad Life is a venue.
Yeah.
In other words, Mad Life doesn't live or die by bar sales. They live or die by ticket sales.
Right.
The same as Variety Playhouse and those type of places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let me ask you, just so you had a gig the other night. Well, not a gig, I guess. You said you were at the Masquerade.
Yeah, we played Masquerade.
Were you in hell or were you?
Huh?
Which room were you in? Were you in hell or
hell?
Purgatory?
We were in hell.
Okay, so that's personally my favorite room down there. Like if in this, you know,
it's fine. I love that room. I loved it. I forgot my in-ears, so that was a little weird. But
okay, you can hear me okay though?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
No. I mean at the gig, at the Mad Life gig.
Oh boy.
Oh
boy.
So
that's no good.
I had to sing naked, and I was like, ugh.
Oh yeah, that's
old
scary.
school. You had to go old school.
So how do you what would be your description of your music? What style would you call it? Like what?
You know, man, I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of obviously Kiss, but I don't think I've ever really been that influenced by Kiss as far as I've never heard anybody say that, wow, your music sounds like Kiss.
No.
I listened to a lot of Cheap Trick from the very dawn of Cheap Trick. Like when their first album came out, a friend of mine turned me on to Cheap Trick. And so Cheap Trick was always a force, you know what I mean? It's like, that was always something I listened to. The Babies, you know, that old kind of power pop rock and roll thing. It's like, we're a rock band,
Yeah.
but we really want to be on the radio kind of thing, you know. But then in later years, Nirvana and like their Simplicity, Nirvana, Urge Overkill, a lot of people don't even remember them. Urge Overkill was a super cool band that everything was bar chords and trashy 8 hi-hats,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And Urge Overkill was a super cool band, and Offspring, you know what I mean, on the extreme side, those type of pop bands that
Power
you can
pop.
tell
Yeah.
might have been a punk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always tell people now when they say, can you describe Animals on the Roof? I go, it's kind of like Nirvana if George Harrison was in the band.
Yes, we were saying Beatles.
I was just going to
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
so listening to that song, in my opinion, it sounds like an updated version of the Beatles, but really good.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, this
Are you
isn't going
saying
to be.
the Beatles weren't
hold on.
good?
This isn't going to be a popular statement, but yes, I was never. You know, I'm 54. The Beatles were definitely not one of my favorite bands growing up. And it's funny that you mentioned Kiss because Kiss made me want to play music, although they're not one of the greatest bands on the planet back then either, you know, but watching that whole thing, the show, it's like you mentioned earlier, you know, you got that shiny diamond that people want to see. If you bring a production, you know, with the smoke and mirrors, and even if, you know, you're not necessarily that good, I guess it helps things out. But, you know, we're talking to real players. Like, you guys are all real players. You got Chad Slone, you know, you've got Shane. I mean, that's a good line. You've got a great lineup, even with your Sammy thing. It's a great lineup. But I kind of lost where I was going there for a second. But that song, what's it called?
It's called Have a Nice May.
Have a Nice May.
Curtis,
that.
Yeah. Do you mind if I play that, Curtis?
It sounds.
I mean, I can tell you what they wanted when they approached us. They were trying to get the license for the Steelers Wheel song, "Stuck in the Middle." You know that song?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I don't know why I came here tonight.
Yes,
of
sir.
course.
Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
Yeah. Maybe
they were
I am
trying
a
to get the
Beatles
license
fan.
for that, but it was taking too long.
Yeah.
And so the guy, John Kukla, the creative director at Fox, he just said, send me everything you have, everything. I don't care if it's just a drum machine demo. So I sent him this song that I had that was about some homeless guy getting on the bus and nobody would give him a seat. And he heard that music and he loved it. So the song was already a demo and he heard it and he was like, God, can we use this? And I said, yeah, sure. You know, so we did that, and Mark Donnells and me kind of got together and finished it. And there used to be a studio, man, I can't remember the name of it, and they're going to hate me. A guy named Don McAllister had a studio with oh man, I can't even remember. It was where I tell you what, it was where Avondale. It was where 37 Main Avondale is right now.
Sure, the old church.
And they had a studio in there, and that's where we cut that. And if we're gonna listen to it, can we please just not listen to all of it?
It's a really good song, Curtis. I mean, it
is. It's pretty cool. You know what I mean? I listened to it the other day. Was the first time I've heard it in years.
Well,
and I heard it and I was like, wow, that sounds pretty cool. They finally put it on Spotify.
Well, it's on Spotify. So if with your permission, I think I can play it copyright wise, but you fit a lot of quality in 2 minutes. This song is a 2-minute song.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, they had different versions of it. They had a 15-second version of it. They had a 30-second version of it. They had the minute version, and they had then they had that was like the long version that we did, where we did all the words and stuff. It's a funny story. I had gotten some god awful strain of pneumonia, and went into the hospital for 6 days basically. And while I was in the hospital, getting my freaking side beat. I don't know if you've ever had pneumonia, but when you're in the hospital, they come in and they beat on your sides, and then they roll you over and they beat on your sides and make you cough all this crap up. I'm sitting there getting beat to death, that came on TV for the first time, and I saw it, and I'm like, that's me on TV. And the lady goes, yeah, it is.
That's awesome. Hey,
go ahead and play it.
Yeah.
God, please don't play all of it.
No, I'll just play the first bit of it. This is called "Have a Nice May."
That's all Mark Donnell and Don.
Hey, so my first takeaway from that is on the intro. I love the staccato guitars. Glank, glank, glank. I love the staccato guitars. If you're not from Atlanta here, a lot of the stuff he's saying, Fox 5 Atlanta, he's talking about the news, local news here. Yeah. Great production.
It's just hooky right off the bat.
Massive hooks.
There's a terrible video of it. I'm glad you guys don't have it.
I kept asking you for a video, but
it's actually. I think that John, the creative director, I think he just uploaded it to YouTube the other day because he sent a link to me, and I was like, "Oh my God, it was so silly." They fooled us. Music Midtown was actually that week, and we were playing at Music Midtown, and you want to think of yourself as this dark band that's we're rock and roll, and meanwhile. It was the first year that Fox had sponsored these giant video screens on the front of the main stages, on the front of the 99X stage and the 96 Rock stage. And of course, I think we were sponsored. Fox was tied to 92.9. And so all of a sudden that video is just playing on all of the freaking screens in rotation all day long at Music Midtown. And I'm just like, oh my Lord.
So you just mentioned a couple of things. You mentioned 99X, no longer here. 96 Rock, I believe, no longer here.
No.
Music Midtown, no longer here.
Yeah.
Well, 99X is back.
Well, 99X is back. Yes.
Yeah, 99X is back, and I can't figure out exactly what they're going to do, but I know that they're bringing back Organic X, which is original bands, on Sunday nights.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I will definitely be talking to folks over there about our new band, Animals on the Roof, so they just announced the other day that they're bringing back 99 Organic X, which means original bands. you guys too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so who knows, man? If we can get people out to shows.
Yes.
And I think you can get people out to shows if you network your ass off, your butt off,
which is what we're doing.
That's what we're trying to do here. Yeah.
Tighten up your, get your show together and make it interesting and make it cool and put together bills and you know what I mean? Although I think the key is, you can't let yourself get demoralized by trying to play places that you want to grow in the places where original music grows, right? Original music doesn't grow at a place like 37 Main, although I think 37 Main, Buford is a fantastic club. Yep. That's not where original music grows. Original music grows, and I'm relearning the landscape, honestly, man. I mean,
we all are.
Lex is in Athens, and so he's turning us on to what's happening over there. I have friends in Nashville, so I have hookups in Nashville, and I know the Nashville scene a little bit. And around here, it's like, okay, where are the clubs? And I've been on social media, asking people like Amy Epperly and I can't remember who else, but just getting some advice. Where are original bands playing?
Yep.
Where are people coming? We had a pretty decent little turnout at Masquerade, but Masquerade's downtown.
Yeah.
And I think people see that and they just go, nah.
Yeah, it scares people away a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Especially underground, man. Underground is always
right.
There's a black cloud.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned a couple of things, advice for younger original bands. First thing was, hey guys, did you hear the polished on that track? That was an original track that was produced independently, I'm assuming, and it was clean and done pro. Your show must be pro. Curtis, I saw you. We played the. We have to mention the Atlanta original music showcase that's coming up.
Right.
March 12th at your venue, 10 High.
Right. At 10 High, yeah.
Done with Scully Cooley, and
Scully Entertainment. Yeah.
Yep.
We're gonna have a stage. We're gonna have a full stage and a full sound system upstairs this time in the Dark Horse.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have the full stage downstairs. And a lot of cool bands showed up this time.
Yep.
I mean, they always do, but this time a lot of the kind of like the heavy hitter guys kind of showed up. And so I think this one's gonna. And plus, we're all in one venue.
Yeah.
I have another place down the street, and we were trying to do that, but that was people walking around, and so I think doing it all in one venue is going to make it really cool.
Yeah.
Too bad 120 Tavern closed, because 120 Tavern was the jam, dude. That was the perfect place for this showcase.
Was that the club that was on 120 between Roswell and Marietta?
Yeah. It was up in Marietta, Sandy Springs, whatever. But when that place closed, Scully asked me if I wanted to host it here, and I went, man, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so we've been doing it. I think this might be our fourth year. I don't think
fifth,
it's fifth, but I think it's our fourth. And I'm always happy to do it because honestly, even when I wasn't playing original music, I love original bands.
Sure.
And I think original music, always deserves a listen. And with people out there like what you guys are doing, I mean, good Lord. I mean, Hope's Anchor's been a band for 20 years?
Yeah. 17, I think is where we're at. We're long in the tooth together for sure.
How long have you guys been together?
I've been with them since the beginning, and it's 2007 or 8.
I mean, you know what I mean? And Sean Pasley's band, Nobody's Darling. I mean, there's a few bands out there that have just been slugging away, man. Just like, you know what? The goal here is to just keep playing music and to keep being creative and keep, hopefully we'll get some nights back. And who knows, maybe one day, in some club, I'm more than happy to put bands on before metal, some on weekends. You know what I mean? We've done it a few times and had some bands do really well. I'm more than happy, but I'm just one club,
right?
And but still, who knows? Maybe original bands will win back. Will win back, that first chair and start, doing some numbers.
Yeah. I like how you're saying, like, go take it. Original bands, polish up your show.
Yeah.
Go take it back. And
man, I mean, just think about things. You know what I mean? There's lots of tiny little things. And because I was the front of house guy at a club called Charlie Magruder's at the beginning of the 90s.
I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
I've been a front of house guy at Nine Lives when they were still open. I've been a front of house guy here. I've done front of house for years and years and years. And there's lots of things that bands, one thing you definitely want to do every single time you show up. Obviously, you want to bring as many of your people. Tell your girlfriend to bring a couple of her girlfriends. If every band guy that's involved in a 3-band bill, there's 4 or 5 members of each band, brought 5 people. You know what I mean? That's a few people in the bar. That's $1,000 to $1,500 worth of bar sales. You know what I mean? That's respectable. And if that's your focus, and then your other focus is this. You want when you leave an establishment, you want everybody in that establishment to go, because I know the way bartenders and managers and people like that, I know the way their brains work. All they're going to remember, if they remember your music, fantastic. But the one thing they're definitely going to remember first is how much of a pain in the butt you were. Mm-hmm. So if you show up and this guy's late and that guy's late, and
what'd you just look at me for?
Got your freaking, you don't have this and you don't have that, and this guy, your whole day, all you're doing is putting a bad taste in everybody's mouth. And at the end of the night, they're going to go, man, that band was, band was a pain in the butt.
We were just talking about that the other day.
They'll never remember your music, and they won't have you back.
Right.
Be pro.
What I mean? So be pro, man. You know what I mean? Come in prepared. Be as easy as you can. You know what I mean?
Fact.
Until you're doing the numbers, keep that guest list, down. Keep that guest list at one person per band member at most. Remember, the club isn't doing this for. I hear this, and I know you guys have heard it 8 million times. Man, I don't care about the money. I'm just doing this, for the music.
Yeah,
that's not the way club owners think. We're doing it for the money.
Right.
Sure.
I don't care what you do on stage, really. So long as my bar sales are there, that's really the bottom line. I got bills to pay.
Yeah. I like that you. I wasn't expecting to have the bar owner perspective as well in this conversation, but it's important for bands to understand. Again, the lights. Hey, do you want to have nice monitors on the stage, nice equipment? The bar has to make money in order to have production. Right. If you want production and you're not bringing it, they have to make money. Best invention possibly I've ever seen. I love it every time I see it. The zip ties on the microphone for not cupping mics.
Hold on a second.
That was the best.
I got to see that.
I thought it was a joke. Then I thought about it for a second, going, "Wow, that's actually really a great idea."
Yeah, look at this. Guys.
I thought about doing this for a long time. I actually had the idea a long time ago of doing. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, we got it. Brilliant.
These things are actually pretty sharp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so the other thing, you can physically cup it, but not all the way. They do it like this.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get that on camera.
Yeah.
They try to do it like this, but this thing, by all means, somebody's like, "Oh, you need to go on Shark Tank." I'm like, "Listen, it zip ties."
Yeah.
And you know what? We do live karaoke 4 nights a week. The singers don't care.
Right.
No.
They think it's just some pretty thing I put on the mic.
It's cute. Yeah.
It's brilliant.
I won't have those for the showcase on the 12th, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, can you for people? I think most people that might be interested in watching this podcast would know this, but can you explain what cupping a mic would do to a front of house guy?
Well, what it does when you the microphone has got a field of what's the word I'm looking for here? It's like got an ambient field around it where it's designed to pick up the sound, right? So when you close that in like that, it loops itself, right? In other words, it immediately is reflecting right off itself, so it feeds back, and plus it sounds like nothing but like high mid.
Right.
Yep. You know what I mean? And so it loops itself like that, and it feeds back. And so, it's completely frustrating, especially when you're trying to mix, 45 karaoke singers a night here at Meddlesome, and trying to get people out over a live drum set and live guitars, and plus the crowd noise here at the 10 High is unbelievable.
Yeah, you got good crowds there, huh?
Oh my goodness. And so trying to get that, and it's frustrating for me as a sound engineer, you know what I mean? And I know it is everybody else. It's funny. I had this guy's been coming in lately, and he said he was Justin Bieber's drummer, and I had to look him up to make sure he was. And he is. He really is.
Wow.
And he goes, man, I took a picture of one of your microphones and I sent it to my engineer because he just thinks it's the most hilarious thing that he's ever seen. I'm like, well, he sings. He works with one professional singer a night. I work with 45 amateurs a night. So
right.
I got to do what I got to do.
Hey, I mean, there might be actually Curtis Clark, well known for not any songs you've ever written over the past 30 years. How long have you been doing music?
I've only been writing songs for about, I don't know, probably about 30 years. I wrote a few songs when I was a kid. It's funny. The first demo tape I ever made, I was probably 20. Wow. And I handed it to Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick at a guitar store. And he pulled out a Walkman and started listening to it right there on the spot. I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize he was going to listen to it right now. And as he's walking around the guitar store playing guitars, completely unplugged guitars, he's playing my songs.
Wow.
And I'm like going, holy crap, this is crazy. Because, of course, he's Rick Nielsen and he's playing all these crazy guitar parts. I can tell what song he's playing.
Right.
And after there was only 3 songs. He hands me back the cassette and he goes, did you write those? And I go, yeah. He goes, they sound really good. And he leans over and he whispers in my ear and he goes, they sound like us. And I went, compliment, bro.
That is a compliment.
Yeah, man. So how do you do it? Do you piece things together or do you sit down and write an entire song?
Lyrics first.
Do you have?
I don't know, man. You know.
Do you have lyrics first? Do you have music first?
It goes every way. You know how it is when you write. When you're writing, you never know what's going to come first. You know what I mean? It's like, for me, the thing that holds me up the most is I'm a limited guitar player. And when we talk about guitar players, I think I'm a little bit better than Elvis. and maybe I'm about on par with like Paul Stanley. I play about as good a guitar as Paul Stanley probably does.
Hey, Paul Stanley is a renowned rhythm guitar player, I think.
I think Malcolm Young is a renowned rhythm guitar player.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And Malcolm Young is the guy is the guy that I look to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I play semi hollow body guitars.
Yeah.
I can't play solid body guitars, but
why?
Why is that? I was just getting ready to say why is that? Because Ted Nugent says the same thing. He's got that songbird. He's a songbird guy, and that's it.
Yep, I can't play. I've tried to play. I had a love affair with Ibanez Eisman's for a while, and I for some reason my sound that I feel comfortable playing with and writing with is the semi hollow body guitar, 335 style guitars, and,
which is not easy to keep control of the feedback of,
right?
Unless you know how to play it.
Yeah, you just can't go crazy with effects or anything. You have to kind of let the amp do it. Whereas Shane plays Les Pauls and Paul Reed Smiths and that kind of stuff. I can't play those type of guitars. I can't get my sound.
So you're straight through an amp. You don't use Kempers or anything like that. You go straight.
No, both of us use amps. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of going to be our thing. Is that I work with the Kempers all the time and all of those amp modelers, and I think they're fan-freaking-tastic. I really do. But for me, it's like, for me personally, I mix my band with Meddlesome all the time, and I haven't heard 128 sounds or 512 sounds, however many sounds a Kemper will do.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a band yet that requires 500 sounds.
Right. Yeah.
But you guys might use 500 sounds in Giza.
Yeah, I've got a Kemper right here, and I've had it actually for 7 or 8 years. But you know what I find, Curtis? I'm old school, too. I've got a tube amp right here. But I set up my Kemper to basically be a tube amp with some effects, and then the next patch is the same tube amp, 10 dB louder for solos.
I think most guys do that. I think because like even when I was touring with Fozzy, Rich Ward had a Kemper on stage that was coming through front of house, but on stage he had 2 Marshall stacks, which is what he was listening to. So that was his monitor. That's what he wanted to hear.
Yeah.
So I think,
but in the studio, the Kemper is definitely the way to go.
I think, ultimately, no matter what guitar rig you've got, in most live situations, some guy's going to put a $95 Shure 57 in front of it.
Yeah,
that's asking a lot of a $95 microphone to translate all of that, those nuances. So, no, I'm a 100%. I had the Axe Effects thing for a while, and I found about 5 sounds in it that I really, really liked, and it was just going to waste. So for me, you know what I mean? Shane uses a real amp. I use real amps. We have a real bass amp on stage. I'm sorry that I'm saying real amp. That's not what I mean. I mean a traditional amplifier that you just and I just like the air movement. I like the
it pushes the air, right? Exactly.
So what amp are you using with your hollow body?
PB Bandit, right?
I'm using Fender 412 cabinets, old school 10 Nugent cabinets, and I'm using a BK Butler preamp and a Sans amp preamp in stereo. I really like Ty Tabor from King's X, and I love his sound.
Big fan.
And the way he's always got that slightly stereoed sound, and I'm gonna have to look and see what Shane plays because I can't remember.
He's got the PB Bandit.
It's a Friedman with a what? A Friedman DE100.
Is that Shane back there?
I'm sure it costs $5,000, huh?
Is that Shane back there?
Yeah.
Tell him to come over here and say hi.
Come on, Shane. Come over here and nerd out and talk about guitar stuff.
How are you not going to come over here and say hi or anything?
Wait, who do we got? Who am I talking to?
Rick
Gathman and Ray Hems.
What's up, baby?
What's up, buddy?
How are you, man?
I'm good, dude. Been a while. Last time we talked, we were. It was after one of my gigs with Rock Force, and I think you and I were talking motorcycles out in the parking lot.
Yeah, at 37 Avondale.
Yeah.
May have been, yeah.
Yeah, I was laughing because like you came in, you rocked the house, and then you just jumped in your truck.
That's what it was. That's right.
Hauled ass like a rock star. I was like, this guy's a rock star.
I had things going on. I had to. That wasn't like a want thing. That was a had to thing. I swear.
Hey, so we were just talking about the profilers and modelers versus tube amps. Obviously, as a guitar player, I'm a guitar player too. Plugging into a tube amp, like Curtis was saying, just feeling the air move, it's obviously just glorious. But the profilers and the modelers do have a place in all of this. Maybe it's in the studio, maybe it's a mixture of both kind of thing. You said you're playing through a Friedman?
Yeah, I'm playing through a Friedman B100. And I've got an old Laney cabinet that I've got loaded it's got the same speakers in it that the Friedman cabs have in it. So I've got the V30s and the Chinese greenbacks in it, and I've got them in a V pattern.
Yep.
And I like it.
Yeah.
It's a light cabinet, and I can kind of throw it around, so it's not like the Friedmans are, birch, and, the Mesa cabinets weigh a ton. And this one's just a light, like an old Marshall. So kind of has that vibe, like an old Marshall, 1960A.
I'm not 100% familiar with the Friedman heads. Are they dual channel, single channel? Are they like a plexi effects loop?
Yeah, the B100 is a dual channel. I mean, who uses clean though, right? I mean, it's a... And then it's the dirt, so it's really kind of a 3-channel. Mm-hmm. It's got a dedicated clean channel, and then the dirty channel can be boosted. So it goes from BE mode to HBE, which is like, where it's more gainy and more saturated.
Right.
It's got a lot of switches on it and stuff, so you can go from plexi to JCM 800 and everything kind of in between.
That's cool.
It's a really cool hot rodded Marshall, basically.
Chassis is like a Marshall. Does it have an effects loop for your chorus? I mean, your delays?
Oh yeah. I run all my modulation effects through the loop, and then I run my boost pedals through the front end.
Sure.
And boost and phase 90 I run into the front end.
Wow. So you really get that phase to activate going in the front end. And again, like for younger players that might happen to watch this podcast, what he is saying is so important that if you're running a delay pedal or anything modulating, flangers, would you say choruses too, somewhat?
I mean, if it's modulating, I mean, you can try it both ways. I mean, you might find out that you like your chorus going into the front end, but I mean, for me, I think they sound better after the preamp stage. Yes. And so, going into the power amp section, the phase 90, I mean, phasers kind of sound good with that chewy thing going on with distortion pushing them.
Yeah.
But I just feel like your delays, your reverb, your chorus, they sound better if you're not, hitting them with a bunch of boost.
Yeah, and so it took me years to. I'm a slow learner. It took me years to figure out how to properly use my Marshall JCM 2000. When I was using my delay pedals early on, I would go into the front and I'd have it set on. I did use my clean channel with like a tube screamer for blues type stuff. And I'd have my delay set, and it was like beautiful. And then I'd hit my distortion channel, and my delay would just be going haywire, wire. And once I learned to run those effects through the effects loop, it was just a whole new day. Also, another thing for younger players to learn, a noise gate running through the effects loop will also clean up and quiet down your hiss. Mm-hmm. Those type of things that you learn only because.
And chain.
We're long in the tooth.
Certain things in line before or after have to be a certain way. You can't. Yeah.
But
surprises you that a drummer knows all that.
I've running EQs in there in the loop too.
Yep.
Just running an EQ as a boost.
Yep.
So you can boost certain frequencies and just have it in the loop.
Yep.
And that's another little hack for your effects loop.
Yeah.
Use your effects loop, kids. That's what it's there for.
It really is. Yeah. I would use the EQ pedal like you're talking about through the effects loop for a solo boost. I would essentially have a noise gate, my delays. I never was a chorus guy. I don't like that effect. But flangers and then the EQ pedal. And that EQ pedal I would hit boom, and that would boost overall volume quite a bit.
Yeah. It's a cool little hack right there.
What guitar are you playing right now, Shane? You playing that Eddie Van Halen guitar you painted?
I am favoring. Well, I'll show it to you. Hold on for 1 second.
Let's see that thing.
Yeah. He painted he did his own finish on an Eddie Van Halen guitar that's pretty excellent. He did a great job.
Stripes or no?
Yeah, the Frankenstein guitar.
Curtis is busting on me, man.
Is that PRS?
He doesn't like my cork sniffer, but it's my cork. It's a
Paul Reed Smith.
Yeah. It's a McCarty.
Yep.
594.
Yep.
And I love it. I've got a Les Paul custom too.
Nice.
And I love that guitar as well.
I guess so.
This guy right here. The idea behind this guitar was that Paul and Howard Leese from Heart sat down with Howard's 58 Burst Les Paul Standard, 1958 Gibson Les Paul Standard.
Right.
And they went through the pickups and everything else on that guitar, and Paul really had a lot of access to it and worked with it with Howard and kept giving him prototypes while he was on the road with Bad Company until they felt like they dialed this in. So it's very vintage voiced. It's very mid-rangey.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of mid-range presence. But I love it.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah. And that's 22 fret look like?
22.
Yeah.
It's 22. It's got LT 58, low turn 58 pickups in it, and I haven't messed with anything. Everything's stock.
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to befoul it in any way.
It's a good looking guitar.
Honor thy instrument.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So what's Mr. Slone doing back there? I don't know. I don't know what kind of time frame you guys have today, and
that would be up to our fearless leader.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, because we're going to keep talking to you until you tell us to shut up.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Good talking to you guys.
It's great talking to you. Good seeing you, brother.
Yeah, man. See you guys soon.
All right, bud.
All right. Hey,
Curtis, we're gonna land this plane here so you guys can get the rehearsal.
I know you got a lot going on. Yeah.
But there was one thing I wanted to bring up. When I saw you, I believe it was last year at the Atlanta Original Music Showcase.
Right.
You guys came on. I believe you were dressed in all white with a white hat and red glasses on, and I believe you had a white guitar. And I believe you proceeded to crush my face with this really cool riff that you were playing at the end of a song, and it kept getting slower.
Oh, yeah.
Slower. And so That made such an impression on me and a keyboard player buddy of mine that was there as well. Can you tell me what that song was and where can I hear it again? And can I hear it like that?
We haven't recorded any of the new stuff yet, and we're really starting to kind of it's on the horizon. I'll record with Mark Donnells again. Like working with his schedule. Mark is the one guy that produced all the Blacklight stuff, and me and him we work very, very well together. Mm-hmm. And so we'll be recording those songs. That song is called Little Pieces, and it's one of the songs that I've written in the last couple of years, and I don't know how that ending came about.
It's beautiful.
The riff is so ridiculous.
Yes.
I tell you what inspired me to write the riff. I don't know if you remember a band. There was a band that used to play in Atlanta, one of my absolute favorite rock bands called Slone. They were called Something Left After Misfortune. They had this crazy riff. It wasn't anything like that. I didn't steal it from them. But they had this crazy riff that they had at the end of this one song. And the riff was so cool. I'm like, I can't believe you guys just don't take that riff and write a song around that riff. But anyway, when we started practicing that song, the slow downy thing, it probably happened accidentally with Stinky. Our old drummer was getting tired.
Yeah.
But anyway, it may have happened that way. But anyway, we love that riff so much. It's so much fun to play because it gets people's attention. They go, what is happening right now? Dun, 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 dun. Dun dun dun.
Yep.
Dun dun dun.
It was unbelievable. Like literally, it's kind of one of those moments where you look at your buddy and you're like, "Oh my god, that is so cool."
I tell you what, man. If an original band can create a moment like that,
right?
It should be the goal. It should be the goal of every original band to create a moment where other musicians go,
"Damn.
What in the heck is happening?"
Yep.
And it doesn't have to happen with blinding speed or skill. It just has to be some creative thing, man.
They call it a hook for a reason.
Yeah. And so we'll be playing that song again. We've definitely got that song with Lex in the band. We've definitely got a way better handle on
the outro.
That song has been rewritten, by the way. That riff is still in it, but that song has been rewritten with the new band. We have a couple of new songs, and I'm not trying to pull completely away from all the Blacklight stuff, but I really want to have new songs. I don't want to just keep playing songs that I wrote in 2005. I think they're good songs, but that was 2005. I'm a completely different writer now. Not completely different, but I'm definitely a different writer. When you have people around you like these guys, you go, okay, we can write now. We can write, come up with things together.
When was the last time that you and I played together? When was the last time you and I played together? We did one of your
one of the tribute
shows at I think it was at Six's Tavern when we did.
Oh, the hair metal thing. Yeah, man. I mean, it's too bad that Wayne and Chris are way to frick out there. I mean, in frickin' Cartersville, because that club, if it were a little closer in town, would man, I'm sure they're great club owners. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wayne's cool,
and Wayne's a musician, and so it really, God, man, I mean, it would be awesome. I mean, I like Cartersville.
Do you think
I have a house in Cartersville? So but
are you still sporting? How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm super duper old.
Well, I'm 54, so you put it out
old.
there too.
What? How old are you?
54.
All right, I'll say I'm 55.
There you go.
Lying son of a gun.
And you can't drive 55.
So you still have the Nikki Sixx hair? Because that's what I always gave you a hard time going.
Who, Wayne?
No, you.
I don't know what hair I have now. I think I have Thomas Dolby hair.
You always had Thomas Dolby.
I think I have
you always have the cool hair, man.
Yeah.
There was a cartoon in the 80s with Vision Streetwear, the skate company. They had this guy called Psycho Stick, and he had the crazy glasses. That's kind of who I modeled my onstage image after, Psycho Stick.
Right. Which was the point about when I saw you come out all white. It was an image. You came out, you had an image, you guys started to play, and it was good. And I was like, I mean, that's...
You always look cool, Curtis.
Yeah, dude, that's the...
And you're a damn good player.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And just good people overall.
Yeah.
I wanted to get into a lot more other stuff. Would you want to come on another time where we can spend some
Sure,
time?
why not? Why not? I'm looking forward to March 12th with all the original bands that are going to be here, and I think we're going to have. I'm really, really hopeful that we're going to have a really good turnout. I mean, there's a lot of really cool bands that are playing, and I think we're going to have a really big turnout. And like I said, we know our club better. I know my sound system better. My sound system is killing right now.
Nice.
I mean, absolutely killing. And I've upgraded my sound system since we did the last one, like wildly upgraded it. And so my sound system is better. My lights are better. I know my sound system way better now. I know my club way better now. You know what I mean? I have a great staff here. And so I think we're going to have a really, 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 really fun day. And hopefully the weather will shine on us.
Yeah, that's great, man. I hope it goes great. Tell Chad hello and welcome, Lex.
Yep. We're looking forward to seeing you guys for sure. Is there a
Awesome, man.
Is there a website for Animals on the Roof?
We have a Facebook page right now. I mean, to be honest, this is probably my old school stupid marketing idea, is that for now, until we're like we wanted to hang back as far as like not promoting, but exposing too much of who we really are and what we really sound like. I'm like, let's don't start recording just yet. Let's do a few gigs.
Yeah.
Let's get our feet down on the ground. Let's be the surprise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's let ourselves be a surprise to people at first, and then once we get a footing, then we'll, then we'll, of course, lunch boxes, albums,
Lunch boxes.
He took our idea. Dang it.
We're late. Well, that's awesome, Curtis. We really appreciate you guys coming on. And
man, we appreciate it a lot, dude. We really do.
Yeah.
We're going to do what we can for original music. And I think
Absolutely.
all of these pointers and everything are, as a young band, I wish there was something like this that I could go, oh, I'm going to take that idea.
Yeah.
Just remember, I'm here. I have a club. I have a PA. I have a sound system. I'm not saying I can put bands on weekend nights because, their numbers just aren't there yet. But I can do what I can do. I have resources.
Okay.
And I'm willing to help out as much as I possibly can. So.
Well, you've got our support. We're backing you guys up, and
awesome,
wishing you
man.
the best.
Looking forward to the 12th.
All right. Have a great rehearsal, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Take care,
Thank
Curtis.
you, guys.
Bye.
You're watching the Original Music Atlanta podcast.